All right, guys. Good morning. It's Monday. Hope you guys are doing good today. Honestly, last night we got some really good news. The news was that the Senate finally agreed to end the government shutdown last night, breaking the filibuster, 60-40. Very close. You had old McCornan, or whatever his name was. I can't remember if that's his name. What was his name? The guy that didn't show up. Like, they got to 59th vote. They needed one more, and they only had one person left. I think his name was Cornyn. That dude. If you check social media, everybody's yelling. They're like, where's John Cornyn at? You know, he finally showed up and voted yay. Government shutdown, at least in the Senate, has been voted to end. It still has to pass the House, but it's pretty likely it will, considering the majority. And, yeah, it's looking like the government will be resumed probably tomorrow to early Wednesday. Tomorrow to early Wednesday is when the government should be back on track. Maybe we'll get CPI data that's scheduled for Thursday this week, Friday this week, PPI and CPI data. We haven't gotten PPI in a month and a half, basically. But it's looking like it's now going to start coming back. Again, and I'm not going to say I told you so, but if you guys remember when I said I thought they would announce a deal, I said Sunday. I was on that, I think. I said Sunday last week. And Sunday is when it was. So, honestly, I'm not even picking sides in this. I think there's some stuff in this deal that's not good. But I also am just happy they're about to end the government shutdown. Because, you know me, I cover economic data. I cover economic data and, like, for selfish reasons, I want the government to resume. What I don't like in the deal, just to clarify, the ACA thing, I'm going to stay away from that. I'm not really getting into that. I think if you look at it objectively regarding the ACA thing, insurance companies are making a lot of money from this, right? They certainly don't want it to end. But it also helps some people, so I'm kind of neutral there. If you look at some other parts of the deal, they're going to ban a lot of the hemp industry. And so, like, Rand Paul, if you look at him, he didn't vote yes on this deal because it's banning a large chunk of the hemp industry. And they kind of, like, this is what politicians do, is that they say, hey, here's a good deal, and then they just slide stuff in there. And so there's a lot of stuff in this deal. Cannabis stocks are probably not going to be reacting well to that this morning. If you look at, like, Tilray, a lot of these should be, I mean, I don't know, maybe they'll do better, but a lot of these companies are going to start struggling, I'm guessing, now from this deal. There's a lot of other stuff in it, but yeah. They reached a deal. They needed 60 votes. They got 60. Exactly 60. So it passed the Senate. The filibuster is over in the Senate. It just has to go to the House. Speaker Johnson is going to be calling them back to vote on that probably tomorrow, I'm assuming, is when he's going to give him a day to get in town, but probably tomorrow. And the shutdown effectively will be over and the government will be back resumed. Again, like I said, my guess is tomorrow or Wednesday is when it'll finally be. So. Yeah, that's what I was thinking just now, D. You might be right, bro. Yeah, crypto's back up a little bit. Bitcoin, again, and a lot of this is buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So a lot of people, you know, baked into this move in the crypto industry. If you look at this, Bitcoin, this is the baked in move happening. And so now that the rumors are here, Bitcoin is at 106,000. NASDAQ is back up to 25,500. Still not over 26. Nvidia's back up to 194s, where it was like, what, 170s? Friday. AMD up there. So just more optimism. You know, we also had some other stuff about the president. "100% want to be a trader." Like, that's what's going on. Like, all of this is related to the medical industry and money, right? Like, objectively, when you look at it, and again, if you look at it from both sides, all of this is about money for the medical industry. And that's a big industry. All right, so the CFTC apparently working to enable spot Bitcoin leverage in crypto trading on U.S. exchanges. PayPal brings no fee buy now, pay later offer to Canada. Moderna, Bank of America Global Research cuts price target to 21 from 24. I'm looking at some other news this morning. China's authorization is the final international requirement needed to formalize the partnership that will allow Chile to participate directly in lithium production. All right, so we had the Fed's daily speak earlier this morning. He said tariffs. Oh, no, let me make sure he didn't say anything else. I'm pretty sure that's it. Okay, yeah. So he said tariffs effects are largely confined to goods. Restrictive policy is having a downward pressure on inflation. Price expectations still relatively well anchored, and we are likely experiencing a negative demand shock. Open mind needed to get policy right. That was the Fed's daily. He said that this morning here. Also, just to run through a lot of stuff going on this morning. Again, market sentiment is mostly higher. NASDAQ up 1.2% today. If you take a look at the NQ here, where it closed, you put a 1 minute chart up. NASDAQ is up significantly from 25.2s to 25.5s. Not quite 1%. This is actually wrong. Not 1%. I gotta fact check AI sometimes, I think. Yeah, okay. It's about 1%. My math in my head, it must be early. But yeah, NASDAQ is up over 1% today. S&P is up about almost 1%. Market is up. Risk on rally. Bipartisan deal reached in the Senate. 40 Senate votes broke the filibuster finally, man. Also, European markets also pretty strong. Again, the stalemate is broken though in the Senate. Broke yesterday, Sunday, November 9th. Senate advanced a bipartisan compromise deal at 60-40. Honestly, I was stressed too because I want the government shutdown to end. I was watching the most boring thing you could ever watch, which is a Senate meeting. 8 Dems join the Repubs to fund the government. It funds it with a new CR through January 30th of next year. Passes a minibus, includes 3 full-year spending bills for agriculture, FDA, military construction, VA, and legislative branch. And then the left received a promise from GOP leadership for a separate vote on ACA healthcare subsidies by mid next month. Again, the Senate's going to hold its final passage votes today or tomorrow. All eyes then shift to House Speaker Johnson. He must now call the House back from recess. Again, it's November 5th deadline. November 15th deadline for military pay is probably why they decided to get this done. But honestly, it's not a sure thing yet, just to put this out there. But it's highly likely. And again, a data dump is expected. We got NFP report that we missed. We have CPI report that we missed. We got GDP reports that we missed. We got PCE inflation that we missed and more. So there's a backlog coming of data, and I'm excited for it. We got some data to come out. We are also supposed to have CPI and PPI inflation later this week. So we'll see how long it takes the BLS to open up. Again, hemp and cannabis stocks are under pressure. The agricultural FDA bill included in the government shutdown ending deal includes a provision that would effectively ban intoxicating hemp products. It's a major negative catalyst for the industry, and they're stressed out. Yeah, I don't know what the data is gonna do. I really don't. Got best, it says some sectors in a recession. Silver? Yeah, let's take a look at gold here. Here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin's pretty flat. Here's gold. Gold up to 4,100 right now. Wow. Gold's back up here. That's kind of pointless. I would rather them open it up for 2 months. Like, you gotta understand, it's not pointless to open it up for 2 months because at this point in time, like, you gotta think about the dynamic of the holidays, right? The holidays are here, brother. I've been watching Christmas movies with my family. And what that means is that they're not trying, like, if you want to really make people upset, don't pay them during the holidays. You know? Even like Snap, like, either way you look at it, it's not good for the holidays. No. Yeah, a lot of people speculating about that. We also had the president say a bunch of stuff yesterday. The president said yesterday on social media a lot of stuff. He said, bro, the act. Finding it. Ads. Okay. Ballroom. I'm scrolling to find what he said. I know he said it somewhere. All right. Well, I'm scrolling. Yeah, I mean, anyways, essentially what the president, just from my memory, what he said, I can't really find it. Essentially what he said is that he might send everybody a $2,000, what do you call it, a tariff dividend? Do you guys think he's actually going to do that? I'm not saying he's not. I'm just curious. $2,000 tariff dividend. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure Alpha Memory, that's what he said. I think the crypto and market people are excited. Yeah. Here's the thing though, right? Like we haven't had data in a month. It's not just about getting a backlog of data out that might swing the market either way, either direction, right? It's not really about that. It's more so, in my opinion, about the data that we didn't. It's about the government being shut down, and so they are not pulling the data like they need to be for future data releases. And so data is going to be either error ridden, you know, it's going to be missing a huge chunk of important stuff that we're not going to be able to see. And so the data can get wild now that it's back online once the government resumes. Granted that everything does resume with the House. So personally, I'd rather him not send out a $2,000 tariff dividend personally. Why? I didn't think stimulus checks were a good idea. You know, like, look, let me show you watches. Watches is probably the easiest way for you guys to understand, like, what I'm trying to say here. Okay? Like, I don't think sending out free money to anybody is good. I think it's bad, and it's going to cause inflation in a high level. Okay. Here is a Rolex price graph. Okay. Just to delve a little bit deeper into this, here's a Rolex price graph. Okay. So stimulus checks got sent out here. You notice anything? The price of everything, including Rolexes, skyrocketed after that. They doubled. This is almost 100% higher than it was down here. It's like 16 to 30, almost 100%, like 90 something percent. And so the problem with giving people free money is it causes inflation. And we saw it in 2020, and there's a lot of other reasons for inflation, and we're seeing it. And if we send people free money now, we're going to see it then. And so I'm kind of against it. I know everybody wants free money. And it will stimulate things a little bit, but I'm against it personally. I don't think we should do that. You know, there's a cost to it that y'all don't understand, that some of y'all don't understand, and the cost is inflation, rapid inflation in some cases. I think it was a mix of everything, Jason. I think it was a mix of 2020, people stuck at home, they got stimulus checks, crypto ran. I think it's a mix of all that, to be honest. It's not purely from the stimmy checks. It's a mix of everything, to be honest. My point is, giving people free money, sometimes people don't necessarily spend it in the right ways. It's like, you have to understand, you know, Rolex prices, even if we look at it, where'd it go? Rolex kind of moves with the market here. But these prices started spiking well before 2021, and crypto didn't really start to make its big move until like 2021, 2022, 2023, 24, you know. Free market is a trap today. Do you think the market holds? Let me do a poll here. I realize I haven't really done a poll. Did the market gains and pre-market hold throughout the day today? Yes or no? Vote on that poll. That poll's now live. Let me know what you guys think. I just don't think giving people free money is good. Everybody, like, everybody wants free money. But there's a cost to it. Not everybody, really, but there's a cost to it. I think this time's a bit different from 2020. I mean, I don't know. I think in 2020 it was rougher for people, to be completely honest. I think most of the snap payments have gone out, at least some of them have. And so I think 2020 was a different time where people couldn't work even if they wanted to, and it was just a big thing, you know. I think this time's a little bit different. I mean, this time's not good either. We got a lot of furloughed federal workers, but for the most part, that'll be back up within the next week or two. And everything's gonna start getting issued back. It's a couple weeks delayed, you know, but it'll be out. I think 2020 was way different. Look at gold right here, though, guys. Gold at 4100s. And again, I'm looking at it from a risk-reward perspective. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. If you don't think I have bills, you haven't seen my water bill, bro. Give me some free money, man. Let me pay for my water bill, dude. Again, I'll put it this way. If you're upset about things being unaffordable, but then on the other end you're saying, hey, give me this money, you're contradicting yourself. Because you know what that money's going to do? It's going to make things more unaffordable. And I think this is objectively true in history, you know. And again, it's all good. I get it, man. I feel for people. I have empathy for people. Whatever people need to do, like whatever. Like again, it doesn't matter too much to me. I'll cover it if it moves markets. I just fear inflation in that context, but you know, maybe I'm wrong here. I could be. By the dip. Is the music too loud? Okay, I could turn it down. All right, guys, gold up to 4100s here. Bitcoin at 106. See what my water bill is right now. Speaking of water bills. Y'all bullish or bearish? I'm not blaming anybody for anything. I mean, again, it's all love here, guys. I hope everybody figures it out. I was ready for the shutdown to end for that reason, because I think the longer it goes on, the worse it gets for people. So, well, John's Wonder Bill. Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Look at the NASDAQ pop back up here. 26,000 is the next big level, in my opinion, way up here. It might take us a little while to fight back up there. You know, we're kind of in the midst of a pullback and things. Based off of this, but the NASDAQ's back up a little bit today. If we take a look at like a yearly chart, we're in the midst of a pullback here on the NASDAQ. Let's see if this pullback holds now. Yeah, it's back, guys. Our water bill took like a month break. It's up 106%. Here's my water bill. $1,004 as of today. It was at $9.98 in August. September, it went all the way down to $4.89, and now it's back up to it. Bulls are right. I don't have bills, guys. I don't have bills. That's all I'm saying. Let's watch 25,500. Again, y'all want to know why my water bill's like that? It says Carol. Y'all know we have a 10-foot sugarcane plant in our backyard now. Carol buys all these plants, sets up these super sophisticated sprinkler systems, and yeah. Texas. One time we had a geyser in my backyard. It was literally like our neighbors texted us and they were like, hey, you've got like an 8-foot geyser in your backyard. We were just like, we know. So in water bill, man. Texas. Freedom. You know, Texas. All right, guys, we're at 524s. AMD at 241s. Again, looking at our poll, we did a poll asking people if they're bullish or bearish today. 65% said the market holds its gains. 35% say no, the market does not hold its gains. The question is, what kind of catalyst does the House approving this package put forth, right? Like, what? Like, does the market go up when the House approves the shutdown bill, the shutdown ending bill? I gotta have some type of leak here, though, right? To be honest, Faye, I don't even watch the Saints anymore. What are they, like 2-7 right now? I can't even watch them. Yeah. LSU lost to Bama too. I'm not really happy about that either, but you know, I can't say I didn't see it coming. Cheers to the LSU Tigers. Yeah, I watched the Saints the first 3-4 games of the year. If they lose every one, I'm usually like, okay. I watch the highlights occasionally, but your heating bill, what does that mean? Your gas bill or your electricity bill? My electricity's not cheap either. I don't know, Brian Kelly. Just we need a O-line. Is it time to buy the Bitcoin dip here, chat? Let me know. I'm in Bitcoin. I want it to go up. I hope it does. China says, quote, we look forward to the U.S. continuing to work with China and jointly maintaining a fair competitive environment with the United States. They say an important step in realizing consensus. This is in response to the U.S. suspending 301 measures, according to a statement. Tyson Foods also put out some numbers this morning. Again, the Fed's daily spoke earlier. He said policymakers need to keep an open mind about further rate cuts, needs to be on guard against inflation risks, but should not ignore possibility of productivity boom and faster non-inflationary growth. Punchbowl says today's day 31 or 41 of the Gulf shutdown is likely to end this week. Yeah. How does it work from economic data from now? Okay, so yesterday, late last night, and again, I'm going to bring this up. You'll never hear the end of it. I told you guys I thought the government shutdown deal would happen on Sunday. When did it happen? Late Sunday night yesterday. Senate narrowly passed this funding bill. Narrowly. What I mean narrowly, they needed 60 votes. They got 60 votes. You know, if one person didn't vote that way, we wouldn't have gotten it, but we did. It was 60 votes. It's not even we. I'm not really necessarily in agreement with everything in this bill, but it's going to resume the government most likely. Now, they have to call the House back, and the House should vote on it probably today, tomorrow. I don't know when they're going to be back. Probably tomorrow, realistically, and the government should be back open, I would say, effectively by Wednesday. Thursday, we're supposed to have PPI inflation data. Now, I don't know. Part of me thinks that they're just going to, maybe they'll put out some inflation data this week. But I think realistically, what they might do is they might consolidate it all to Friday. Remember, we're also supposed to have a bunch of other stuff coming out. So this week alone, we're supposed to have CPI, PPI, and retail sales data going live. And this is not even including the whole array of different reports that we've missed over the last month that will get delayed reports for. Again, my guess is they're going to consolidate it all to one day, depending on what it is. Or maybe they're just going to release it on one day or spontaneously as the market comes back. I'm really not sure. What this means, though, is that we're going to have a whole bunch of reports coming out in the next week or two. Delayed reports. And then next week, we were supposed to, what? Jobless claims. And then tomorrow, before any of this, we have the ADP reports going live. So tomorrow, we got the ADP jobless report is what I'm going to call this. The ADP payroll report. Weekly payroll report. It kind of replaced... jobless claims, but we're going to start getting jobless claims data back at the very least as well. Again, it just depends on how long it takes for the House to get back and vote on this. And again, it's not a sure thing. It's not a definite thing. Yeah, it's not a certainty. It's not a sure thing. It's not a definite thing. Yeah, we're going to stream all this stuff. I'm excited because we haven't really had any major economic data for like a month plus now. It's been kind of boring, and that's what that's what my channel does, is cover economic data. And so I'm glad to finally get it back. It'll take some time, but yeah, we'll cover all of it when it happens. They should give us like an update on when it's going to happen. Yeah, I think the Senate actually has to, yesterday was a test vote. So I think the Senate actually has to do one more if I'm correct. It has one more vote for final passage. But I think now the next vote just needs a simple majority, right? Let me make sure. Yeah, simple majority, which is 51 to pass, which they're gonna get. It's expected to happen today or tomorrow. Yeah, so there is one more vote, but it's just a simple majority. So they just need over 50, which yesterday they got 60. So unless 10 people change their votes, which is not gonna happen. Yeah, we're gonna get a delayed payroll report from Friday as well. We're gonna do all this stuff live when it happens, but again, it's probably gonna be some time. Like we're on the road to the government resuming, but it's probably gonna be a few days regardless. So and again, I think it's probably gonna be Tuesday, late tomorrow, Wednesday, at the earliest for the government to resume, like effectively resume. So it'll be some time. And NASDAQ's kind of flat. I mean, the NASDAQ is up a lot. It's gapping up big. It's slow over the last few hours, though. Again, Bitcoin is kind of slow. Gold is up, though. If you take a look at gold, AMD back up to 240s. Here's gold. Gold all the way back up to 4100s here. Any other pending reports or earnings that could affect markets? Yeah, I mean, the next big earnings report is NVIDIA earnings. That's going to be a big one. That's going to be on the 19th, so that's in 9 days from now. That's going to be next Wednesday, the 19th. And I think we also have the FOMC minutes report that day, so we're going to be streaming that live fully like we always do. I don't have a lot of stuff to cover, but again, the Senate's going to pass the actual vote. The procedural or the final passage vote, because it's just a simple majority now. The filibuster's over. It just takes, so it's effect as long as it passes the House. Again, I've learned much more about politics than I've cared to over the last few weeks because of this. Yeah, next week we got a bunch of stuff too, man. We got, and then it's not just that. Like, we have a whole lot of reports that we missed here. Again, specifically, we got JOLTS, we have jobless claims, we have unemployment data, we've got payroll data that we've missed, we've got CPI data that we've missed, we've got PPI data that we've missed, we've got retail sales data that we've missed. There's a whole lot of stuff that we should get, like a dump of data coming out sometime over the next few weeks that might move things. We'll see how it goes, but. Yeah, if we take a look at the 10-year, let's take a look at it. If you look at yields are actually elevated again this morning here. They're up to over 4.13% right now, 4.13%. Here's yields, 10-year treasuries. They are, I don't know if they're, I think they're actually flat today, but they spiked a little bit overnight from the weekend. Yields are up, elevated. If we take a look at the CME watch tool, 65% chance of a rate cut. So again, here's the thing, right? Now we should be getting all the data that we missed. This is going to guide the Fed on what they should do in December for their rate decision, right? So the question is, do you think the data that we've missed is going to be high inflation or low inflation? Do you think it's going to show a stronger labor market or a weaker labor market? Do you think it's going to show a stronger economy or a weaker economy? These are all things that might guide the Fed. We also have the Fed minutes report next Wednesday, I believe, as well. Same day as NVIDIA earnings, and that's going to be interesting. Also, so yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on next week. Rate odds for December are down slightly. They're basically where they were last week, but they are down a little bit here. They're down slightly. So yeah, I mean, it's highly probable the government shutdown is going to end now. Weak labor, flat inflation, in my opinion. High, weak. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the ADP report. The last ADP employment report showed up here for October. It showed up at 42,000 jobs added in October. This last month delivered a rebound from 2 months of weak hiring, but the bounce wasn't broad-based. Education, healthcare, and trade, transportation, utilities led the growth. For the third straight month, employers shed jobs in professional business and information and leisure and hospitality. So we did see 42,000 jobs gained for the ADP report. Now, again, we have another smaller version of this report coming out tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. So tomorrow, 8:15, we do have a smaller version of this report going live. We'll see what that looks like, but we do have a smaller version going. It's the weekly report that's kind of replacing jobless claims until the government's back up. Again, airlines have canceled over 1,000 U.S. flights for 4 straight days as government flights cut continue. China's commerce minister says, look forward to U.S. continuing to work with China to inject more certainty, stability into ties with the United States. We got that going on. Again, this is hard to trade, guys. We start pushing over 550s. Maybe I'll hit some longs up to 570s. But right now, I'm just looking at this, waiting for a better range to attack. The range is kind of tight. We're not really doing too much here. And I think markets are optimistic. Unless we get some bad news coming out, markets seem to be pretty optimistic. Yeah, remember, tomorrow's Veterans Day as well, so I think they're going to want to get stuff done. And again, I think one of the best things they could have done is made him go there every day. Sunday, one of the things that, like, as soon as he started making the Senate convene every day, that's when the deal started to get done, I think. Yeah, again, PPI inflation still scheduled for Thursday. I don't know if it's going to come out. CPI inflation still scheduled for Thursday. I don't know if it's going to come out. We also have jobless claims Thursday as well, so we got a whole bunch of stuff dropping then. Friday, PPI inflation, I think. Again, it's unclear whether they're still going to release it. It just depends on how long it takes for them to hold the House vote. Yeah, Amazon. Look at the NASDAQ start to creep back up here. If we take a look at Amazon, if you want me to look at some stocks, I'll take a look at them. Gold, again, up to 4100s. Bitcoin back up to 106. Amazon up to 248. Meta. I bought the dip in Meta. We're green in it. Okay, good. All right. You're up in Meta. Finally. Took long enough. I'm still going to hold Meta. I told you guys I wouldn't look at it, but we are in Meta. Again, 70% of people say yes, the market gains hold throughout the day today. So again, on a poll, we got about 300 votes. 70% say yes, the gains hold. Yeah, Meta, man, that thing had a crazy drop. Again, we bought the dip. Our average price, we're green. Green is good. I'm not going to buy anymore, though. Green is good in Meta. That is kind of sketchy, to be honest. Again, so apparently around 8 billion Bitcoin shorts are supposed to be liquidated if Bitcoin rallies to 115,000. Again, airline cancellations are now at around 5.5%. All right, we're dipping down here. We're at 537s. Part of me wants to buy this little pullback here as well. Let me see if I can. I'll try to buy this. We'll have some fun. Big 2. Maybe waited for 525 though. I just want to see that's 550. The other stocks you guys want me to look at? Meta has no vision. I don't know. I think Meta's getting into Oculus. Or Meta makes money through Oculus. They make money through their glasses. They make money. So the biggest problem with Meta, in my opinion, is what their AI is currently looking like. There we go. Take half of this off and just lock it in, and then the rest. Yeah, the biggest problem with Meta is what their Oculus looks like. What their Oculus business looks like, what their Meta glasses business looks like, and what their AI is currently doing. I think AI. I haven't heard a lot about Meta's AI lately. What is it called? Llama AI, if I remember correctly. So. Target? Yeah, guys. Again, if you want me to look at some stocks, I will. Target. I think I'm in Target still, actually. Yeah, I'm still green in Target. Average price is in the 80s for Target. I just want to let it keep running, though, to be honest. Do you want to add some size back here? I guess I'll try. We'll add some size. See if we test 550. Yeah, we added that just in time. Look at this. Off up there if we can. With the rest of this. About flat on the rest now. I cut it right here and just wait. Marvell. See, I did bought Marvell a while back, and then I covered it. I'm not sure where I covered it at either, but I remember looking at Marvell. Somebody brought it up, and I looked at it, and I liked the numbers behind it for Marvell. But I can't remember where I sold it. But I remember I made a lot. I think I bought it at 60s, and I sold it around like 80s or 90s, but I can't remember exactly where I bought the dip. It was earlier this year in like August or September, so I'm pretty sure I bought the dip at like 60 something. Sold it on the rebound. Either way, I mean, Marvell is growing as a company. They're starting to, I don't mind the trend here. The trend doesn't look terrible. Not an investment professional though, guys. I'm not liable if you lose money. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me. But yeah, Marvell, the trend doesn't look terrible. At 90 plus. It's not looking bad. Sold at 85s. Yeah, I can't remember exactly where. I mean, I know I made a lot of like a big percentage on. I just don't remember exactly where I got out. Could have probably held it, but hindsight's 20. Disney? Doesn't Disney have earnings this week, or was it last week? He's so flat right now, though. I usually like buying Disney when it's at like $80, $90. It's at 110s now. It's not really my favorite place to buy Disney. Grab? Nah, it's a penny stock. I don't really. I mean, the trend up, it looks like it's rebounding. It's just not. It's just not my style. Trend doesn't look bad for a penny stock. It's just not really my style, brother. It's too cheap for me in terms of stock price. It's under $10 a share, which means it's volatile most likely, and you know, not really my style, bro. Hope you make money with it if you're in. Apple sideways for the last week ago. I don't know. I hope Bitcoin price goes up, Kevin. I think it depends on what we do in terms of rates. I think we're ending quantitative tightening on the 1st. I think that we got a government resumption deal in the works. and the government will probably resume in this week. And so, I think there's some catalysts for Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin kind of needs some of these catalysts. And so I think, but it also depends on like where Bitcoin ends the year. I think it depends on what we do in December. There's been some question marks about whether we're going to cut rates in December. And, Jerome Powell specifically said that a rate cut was not guaranteed for September. And we also have we have a backlog of economic reports that'll swing the rate cut odds either way coming out over the next few weeks, most likely when the government resumes. And so we got a lot of question marks regarding Bitcoin right now. I hope it goes up. I'm in Bitcoin. I want it to go up. But I think a lot of it is going to depend on what happens with some of this stuff. Yeah, a lot of it's just going to depend on what happens with some stuff, and I don't know. I hope we get good news. Michael Saylor's strategy buys 487, worth 50 million. Adjusting for inflation, millennials now have net worths that are higher than those of previous generations at similar ages, according to Wall Street Journal, adjusted for inflation. Maybe. I think you can thank crypto for that, most likely. I think it's purely Bitcoin related. I don't think it's house prices. Gold 4100. Yeah, gold's flying up. Yeah, look, it's not that I'm against penny stocks. It's that, okay, you look at penny stocks. Palantir was a penny stock, sure. But Palantir is like 1 in 100 in terms of penny stocks. And maybe the risk reward is still justifiable. Again, I'm not hating on some penny stocks are certainly going to go from penny stocks to big cap. Definitely possible. The problem is that everybody thinks their penny stock is the one that does. And I'll tell you this, 90% of penny stocks fail, get delisted, go to pink sheets, you never see them again. And if you look at some of the marketing out there for penny stocks, if you're a rookie trader, or not even a rookie trader, just somebody that hasn't been around stocks long enough to understand what I'm about to say, you're setting yourself up to get manipulated. If you look at all the marketing that are around almost every single penny stock out there, they say their company's the next Amazon, the next Apple, the next big AI name, the next big thing in stocks. Right? A large majority of the time that's not true, but then sometimes you have even big groups of investors that just kind of huddle around a stock and talk everybody into buying it. And most of the time the healthy companies just don't need you to do that. They don't need that dynamic. And so because of that, I just try to stick with the easier money. I might miss out on some big gains, sure, but again, I don't need to catch some of these crazy stocks. It's kind of like, VC investing, right? Like VC investing, most of the time you're going to lose money, right? But those ones that actually hit are the ones that are going to make you your money long term, right? And while that might work for VC funding because you can actually go and research these companies and see the companies and figure it out that way, in penny stocks, it's a freaking ridiculous market. There's so much nonsense floating around in penny stocks. It's hard to tell what's legit and what's just etchy marketing. And so because of that, I just avoid it. I hope you guys make money of it. Red Gen Zs are opting to invest in stocks over buying homes. I get it too. Homes are expensive. Yeah, I mean, BYND is a good example. Honestly, BYND, I don't even know if I'd call it a penny stock. It is now for sure. I tried to warn people about this. Like, I told people while it was running up, it wasn't going to hold it. Correct. I've seen it happen so much that I kind of know what to expect from stuff like this. All right, NASDAQ's dipping down. I might buy this dip here. Okay. Got a cushion. We can add to this. Do you think VC funding is easier than penny stock investing? If you know what you're doing, yes. All right, look at that rip. I'm gonna sell into it. Cover this. The range is small, but we're somehow making money today, which is good. Digital and Rigetti made me a bunch of money. I had 1,000 shares in both at $6. Hey, good job. Like I said, there's some stocks that are gonna do it. In specific sectors, like quantum, there's a lot of opportunity in that space. It's just risky. Maybe I should have held this. I think it depends on how much money you have, to be completely honest. A lot of the time what attracts penny stock investors, like small account traders that don't have that much money. And I think in that situation, those are people that should not be doing it. Yeah? Those are the people that should be taking the easiest money in the market, which is certainly not penny stocks. But maybe if you've got like a big bankroll and you can research well and you can see through crap easily, then you might be able to do that successfully. But only if you have a big bankroll and you're willing to dig through a bunch of crap. Outside of that, I wouldn't do it. So. Yeah, Bitcoin getting up this morning. Look at Bitcoin fly right now at 106.5s. Bitcoin 106.5s right now. Get gold up, Bitcoin up. Again, Michael Saylor bought 487 Bitcoin, worth roughly 50 million. 49.9 million aggregate purchase price at roughly 102.5 thousand per Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin here. Ripping up here. You guys see any reason for it? I don't see much. Ape. Yeah, XRP. I'm looking at XRP right now, actually. I'm just now looking at XRP at 250s. Back up. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Will we get a Santa rally in crypto this holiday season? Will we get a Santa rally? I don't know. I hope we do. I want us to go up. Will we, though, chat? Yeah, silver's going to be up. Gold is up. Nvidia back up to 190s. Trying to get back over 200 today. We'll see if it does. A lot of people are optimistic this morning, so... And again, it's looking like a deal for the U.S. government shutdown ending is very probable. Senate passed it. Now it just needs a simple majority. Filibuster is over. That needed 60 votes, so we got 60, and now the filibuster is over. Now we just need a simple majority in the Senate. It goes to the House. House should pass it. 80-90% chance it does. And then the government shutdown should end tomorrow or Wednesday. Look at Bitcoin right here, guys. Bitcoin flying up right now. Yeah, he's okay, Sam. Kind of stuff going on. Right. It's pretty flat in markets here, guys, but the government shutdown should be effectively over. So a U.S. judge temporarily blocks the current administration's directive, which states undue steps they took to issue full SNAP food aid benefits. Yeah, 50 mortgages, $2,000 tariff dividends are circulating. Not circulating, but rumors of them and talks of them are circulating now. Again, look at Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's just up on the Micro Saylor news, probably. Again, y'all do me a favor, hit the live button next to the play button, hit the subscribe button. We appreciate it. But again, it's looking like the government shutdown should end by Wednesday. You guys agree with this? Again, Wall Street Journal report says millennials now have higher net worths than previous generations at the same age, even after adjusting for inflation. Do you guys think that's true? As a millennial myself, I don't know. Even adjusted for inflation. Again, I think maybe if we look at crypto specifically, crypto might have helped push these numbers up a little bit for my generation. No. I don't necessarily agree with this, to be honest. Again, I think there's certain things skewing this, right? And what do I mean by that? I think what's skewing this is you got millennials that are now billionaires from tech. You got millennials that are now crypto millionaires and billionaires. And so I think there's certain... Oh, look at the NASDAQ fall back down here. This has to be catalyst driven. Hold on, let me make sure. Looks catalyst driven to me. Look at that drop. Spot gold to get over 4,100. MicroStrategy news. China Commerce Ministries. NVIDIA urges Taiwan Semiconductors to boost Blackwell 3 and M wafer output by 50%. Need some dips right now, guys. Get Bitcoin pulling back as well here. Look at Bitcoin fall. Yeah, it says the House is gonna hold a vote by Wednesday. Alright guys, look at the NASDAQ turn here. Look at Bitcoin pull all the way back down to 106.3s right now. 106.3s. Michael Saylor bought a specific amount of Bitcoin. I think he bought $50 million worth of Bitcoin, if I remember correctly. It's like 49.9 million. Yeah, Michael Saylor bought 487 Bitcoin, 49.9 million at an average price of 102,557 per Bitcoin, and achieved a Bitcoin yield of 26.1% year to date 2025 as of 11/9 yesterday. Again, Bitcoin pulling back here, back down to 106,260. They're not voting until Wednesday. Well, it's procedural, mostly. Again, I've learned a lot more about politics the last month plus. So I will tell you guys what I know about procedure here. So yesterday's vote was just a test vote. They should have the official vote. And the test vote did eliminate the filibuster, meaning they don't need 60 votes anymore. They just need a simple majority now. So now that they have their 60 votes to end the filibuster, now they just need a simple majority, which they have. Right, and so the Senate will officially pass this today, probably, right? Then you got to wait for Johnson to bring the House back from their recess, and then that should happen by late tomorrow or Wednesday, right? And then once that happens, the government's officially back open, and then we're going to start figuring out when we're going to get these delayed reports that we've been missing for the last month. And so that's officially what it is. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Pawn? Hope you're doing good today, brother. Sorry. Let me pull up Discord. Alright, guys, we got 15 minutes. Again, the government shutdown is almost over. Wednesday. And again, I did see a U.S. judge temporarily blocks the Trump admin's directive, which states undue steps they took to issue full SNAP food benefits. And so it's getting kind of murky here in terms of what's going on. Like, I think what they're saying, this is what I think happened. I think a judge ordered that they have to pay SNAP, and then another judge ordered that they delayed that ruling that he had to pay SNAP. And so prior to the second judge saying that, the current administration started backtracking on releasing it, you know, probably to put more pressure on ending the shutdown. And again, I'm trying to stay objective here. Probably to put more pressure on ending the shutdown. Now, another judge temporarily blocked that backtracking step, basically saying, no, bro, you got to release the SNAP payments now. You started to do it, now you have to do it. And now that's where we are here. That's what I'm reading from this. I'm pretty sure that's basically what's going on here. And again, if I'm wrong, I could certainly be wrong. Correct me. Okay. Johnson expects House back early this week, according to a Fox reporter. Shutdown's ending. I mean, it's not irrelevant. It'll get people. God, excuse my ignorance, but why doesn't MicroStrategy go into Bitcoin mining, buying them at market value? I mean, ask Saylor. Pretty sure it's just strategy now too. I always say MicroStrategy anyway, but ask Michael Saylor, brother. I don't know. Again, Johnson expects the House back early this week. Get them out there tomorrow, bro. Get this over tomorrow, Tuesday. That way, if they come back tomorrow, I think we will get PPI and CPI inflation data this week. If they come back tomorrow, right? I think we'll still get CPI and PPI inflation data, and maybe some of the backlog data on Friday. That's my guess. All I want for Christmas is a Bitcoin. Y'all should make that work. Playing my dwarf elemental person and WoW. I never played WoW. Honestly, I tried to buy WoW one time in like 2008, and my computer wasn't good enough. Like back in the day, you used to be able to buy computer games in the box at the stores. And so my mom would take me to like Walmart, and I would see all these cool computer games, you know, and I'd be like, ooh, look at this game. And I would buy it. You know, my mom would buy it for me. But our computer sucked. It was not a good computer. Even in 2008, it was not a good computer. And so I'd come home and install that game and get really, really excited. And then I would say at least 70% of the time, the game did not work. And it would sometimes work for like 3 seconds, and then the whole thing would just not work, freeze, you know. And so I never got to play WoW. I never got into it. I was more of a Halo online multiplayer person myself. But listen, you know, enjoy it. Have fun, dude. Yeah, government shutdown should end by Wednesday this week. Bitcoin is still pulling back. It's at 106.2 thousand. It wasn't even my internet. My internet was good. My mom always kept good internet, but the computer that I was using, for the time being especially, it was just not good. Not a good computer. I always play consoles because... Yeah, I remember I got Battlefield 1942. Got so excited to go, like, looked up videos online and was like, ooh, I want to play this game. Bought it at the store, came home. I remember it would work, like I said, for like 10 seconds. Like, I remember I'd jump on a boat and I'd start going through the ocean, and then it would just cut off. And I must have tried to play 20, 30 times. Never worked. This was back in the day when computers were not nearly as good as they are now. Again, Visa and MasterCard reach revised swipe fee settlement with merchants, according to a court filing. Back in my day, I used to walk 5 miles to school. Oh, okay. Get off my lawn, guys. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I was a kid. I thought it would work. Keep trying it. Gold, guys. Why do you think gold's going up so much? Do you guys think it's the tariff dividend news boosting gold? Inflation hedge, maybe? China says it looks forward to the U.S. continuing cooperation. Yeah, so from colleague, it said Johnson calls Senate test vote a, quote, great development. We'll get House back in, quote, immediately. Says House will vote early this week. NASDAQ back up here. Seeing some volatility. I don't really see the news to drive it, though, but I think the market's just volatile with all the stuff going on. Shutdown most likely over early to mid this week. Most people had debt, maybe. Trying to make sense of Burry's play. You got to understand Michael Burry, which I'm not even claiming to. But Michael Burry, if I look at it as objective as I can, Burry was scorned by the system. Lost friends. His friends sued him, you know, for making those bets against the mortgage market in 2007, 2008. The ratings agencies were sketchy. So that has conditioned Burry at this point in time to distrust markets. That's why he makes so many short predictions, because he distrusts markets, right? He probably looks back at 2007, 2008 like it's his glory days as well. You know, like that was the big moment that made him famous. They made a movie about him, right? And so, of course, does Burry want to miss out on the next big market crash? No, he doesn't. So what's the natural effect of that? Burry's going to overpredict crashes. And maybe he's right about this one. I'm not even saying he's wrong. He could certainly be right. And he's definitely got more data and understanding about this stuff than I do. But I think he's also got a little bit more bias as well. I think Burry has called multiple shorts and crashes over the last 7 years that I've seen him do personally, you know, while it happens. And he's been wrong about almost every single one at this point in time. Maybe he's correct about the AI bubble. It's possible he is. I don't know. But he might be right, and it might be 3-4 years from now. And so even if he's right, it doesn't mean he's right. But with that said, even in 2007, 2008, Burry, even 2007, 2008, Michael Burry still kind of, you know, he was still early. Still made it work, though. So. Again, is Michael Burry correct about the AI bubble? I'll put a question in chat. Is Burry correct? Again, Nvidia, speaking of AI, all the way back up to 193s this morning. So Nvidia again was down to 170s as of Friday. 170s for AI for Nvidia. If you look at like a 30-minute chart here for Nvidia. Lows of 178.90s Friday. We've basically retraced all the way back up though. Not at all. Maybe next year. Wrong. There is no AI bubble. No. Yes. Wong claiming the U.S. needs China for AI dev could make more sense now. Nope. Most people think Burry's actually wrong. I don't necessarily think he's wrong. I think he might just be early. I don't necessarily think he's wrong. I think he just might be early. Timing is off, yes. 2 years from now, the boy who cried wolf too many times. I think in general, electronics get depreciated a lot with time and invested more than profits. Bubble will pop when you least expect it. Yeah, I mean, most of the time when we burst, nobody really expects us. Outside of a few outsiders. So most of the time when a bubble bursts like this, it's not really expected in that way. Bitcoin push it back up. We're at 106,275 here. We're really flat in markets, to be honest here. We're not really doing too much. We got 2.5 minutes until 8:30, and I don't think we really have any big data released today. All right, so UBS sees the S&P 500 hitting 7,500 next year on earnings streak. They expect the S&P to reach 7,500 next year, driven by 14% earnings growth, nearly half from tech. The bank sees early economic softness giving way to stronger global growth demand in 2026, and U.S. stocks are forecast to return about 10%, led by earnings rather than valuations, with gains broadening beyond big tech by mid-year. You guys agree with this? And again, I think the S&P 500 wants 7,000. I think the S&P 500 very close to 7,000. You know, back on the 29th of October, we got up to 6,900s here. And so we're very close to this $7,000 level right up here. And I think that's a big milestone area that, like, the closer we get to it, especially after almost hitting it once, a higher chance that it is that we actually break that level. Now, the question is, when the government resumes, is the market going to go up when the government resumes? And I don't know. I think last time the government was shut down for 35 days, the market went up during the shutdown and then corrected a little bit afterwards. Or no. Yeah, I think that's right. I think the market actually went down leading into the potential shutdown, went up during the shutdown, and then corrected a little bit once the shutdown was over. But I have to go back and check exactly when that was. Back in 2018, 2019. NASDAQ's moving back up to 550s. Bitcoin 200,000 by the year end? Maybe. I would just be careful with the Bitcoin predictions. I want Bitcoin to go up, but you got so many people that are predicting wild things. You know, like Kathy Wood said Bitcoin would be at 500,000 by now. And like, so you got these people in crypto that they put out these valuations. You just got to take it with a grain of salt. A lot of it's confirmation bias. But I want Bitcoin to go up, and I think it will over time. I just don't know if it's going to happen that quickly. I hope I'm wrong, though. And again, if you think I'm wrong, let me know. All right, NASDAQ back up to 550s here. When do you guys think the S&P is going to hit 7,000? It's very close to that now. But it did pull back when it was a little bit closer at the end of last month. Again, gold over 4,100s now. Here's the NASDAQ get higher here. Now, the high of the day on the NASDAQ is at about 570s up there, 570s. Got to get over this 550 level that we have on our charts, though. We'll see if it can. 570s is the high of the day. By end of next week, S&P at 7,000. I don't know. I think the only thing that can cause a hiccup to that is the economic reports that we're getting. You know, we do have economic reports. We're going to get mass releases of the economic reports that we didn't get during the shutdown over the next few weeks once the government resumes. And so the only thing that can put a hiccup in that is if the data's not good. Specifically inflation data, I would say. Like, I think inflation data coming out elevated can cause effectively like lower odds of a rate cut next month, and then that consequently negatively impacts market. So I think it depends on what the data looks like. It's going to be kind of incomplete data, though. Some of it's going to be incomplete. Some of it's just going to be really delayed. So I don't know. No, Bubbleberry probably made money in a week though with a short. I don't know. If you look at where Burry got in 45 days ago, maybe a little bit over that, like 50 days ago, he would be down if he held. I've given you guys my theory on him making that quote from War Games, talking about sometimes there's something you can do about it, other times there's not. And again, I think that sounded like that's where he covered the position. All right, look at 550 reject here. 550 did reject this. Are the reports going to be released all at once? I'm not sure. It really depends on how they decide to do it. I really don't know. At the very least, tomorrow we're getting ADP employment report for... so we get private payroll data at the very least tomorrow. Coinbase is going to launch token sale platform for retail investors. I did see this news that just come out. This Coinbase is going to launch token sales platform for retail investors and issuers. Digital token offerings, according to the Wall Street Journal. Breeze lost money, no doubt. Chaos with the data. Yeah, at least it gives me something to talk about, though. It's been kind of boring the last month. You know, at least it gives me something. All right, guys. Shutdown confirmation gets us to all-time highs, which is at 69.20 on the S&P, and next week we need only 80 handles to get 7,000. Easy peasy. Yeah, I mean, the question though you have to ask yourself, I think, is has the market already, like, look, the shutdown's basically over. You know, now, do you think we're going to react favorably to the official announcement, or do you think it's kind of buy the rumor, sell the news? I think either one of those things could happen. I think Bitcoin up to 106.5s, NASDAQ starting to push up. But I think either one of those things could happen. I think a lot of it's baked in already, though. I think that's why we're up so much today. Is people already know the shutdown's basically over. Again, the filibuster is over, which is the big thing. Again, Fed's daily still speaking says inflation has been pretty contained in goods prices via Bloomberg TV. Micron's New York mega fabs reportedly face 2 to 3 year delays, now set for late 2030. Maybe that's where he DCA'd, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if the market's going to act bipolar. I think a lot of stuff's buy the rumor, sell the news. And this is one of the biggest things people get wrong about markets. Like, I watch the market every day. One of the biggest things people get wrong, it's very simple. It's that the real moves are happening in the weeks preceding the big thing, right? So if we have, like, an example of this is NVIDIA earnings. People are getting baked into different reactions in the months and really weeks preceding that report. If people, look at the SPY drop. People are getting baked in prior. The reason there's a buy the rumor, sell the news dynamic is because people react ahead of time to it. And so people look at earnings and they say, oh, if the stock had good earnings, why is it down? If the stock had bad earnings, why is it up? And it's mostly because people are taking those positions ahead of the earnings report, not necessarily when the earnings drop. Very few people are deciding to buy it right when the earnings drop or sell it right when the earnings drop. That's not really what most people are doing. Most people are investing in the company ahead of it, or, you know, trading it ahead of the report. They should release CPI on the 13th, correct? It depends on how long it takes. It depends on when the government resumes. So again, the way this works here, chat, is that yesterday's vote was only a test vote. They have to vote for final passage. It's probably going to be today, but it's almost certainly going to pass. Why is it almost certainly going to pass? Because prior to the test vote, it needs to be 60 votes. And we got exactly 60. Again, I was watching this last night. And they got exactly 60. So now the filibuster is over, meaning you don't need 60 votes anymore. You just need a simple majority. Now, you know. And again, the test vote got 60. So you just need 51. So unless 9 people backtrack, which they're not going to, it's going to pass. And then it just depends on how quickly Johnson can bring House back, and the House can vote on it, and then it's basically done. Again, Wednesday is probably when the government's going to resume. I don't know if they're going to release CPI Thursday, just because, you know, the government resuming Wednesday, and then all of a sudden getting back, and then releasing the data, unless they've been secretly compiling it the whole time. I just don't know if they're going to release it Thursday. Maybe Friday, PPI and CPI is a guess. Maybe we'll get some of the old CPI data then too, but we'll have to wait and figure it out then. I don't think we'll get jobless claims on Thursday either, personally, but I hope we do. I hope we get some stuff this week. At the very least, we should start to see data coming out this week or next week. If you want to check out Topstep, I'll put the link up. Great way to help support the channel. No PDT and futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold. Most day traders lose money, and so it's a great way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose. They give you a 50K demo. It's $50. You pass it, you get a 50K funded account. You fail it, you lose $50. They're a sponsor and affiliate of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them, so understand all the stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. Just genuinely useful for traders if you want to check it out. Understand all the stuff on screen, but yeah, genuinely useful. Yeah, tech bubble was more accurately mirrored in like 2001, I would say. We're in a bubble. Bitcoin back up to 106.5s. I do kind of want to buy this dip here in the NASDAQ, though. We're already green on the day, but I think it maybe we'll move up there at least some to test 570s. Time's different. But John, shouldn't we get data they've collected? They haven't been collecting some of it because they don't have the people they need to collect it. Big question mark. And so some of the data we're going to get is incomplete. Maybe we'll get it. I hope we do. I don't know. Again, this is something that the last time this happened was 2018, 2019. I wasn't really covering economic reports then. Maybe we'll get it. Maybe we won't. I don't know. I hope we do. I hope we get it this week, but I don't know if we're going to. Fed's Daily says, I don't want to make a mistake of holding on to rates too long. We are not going to see inflation pressures from labor side costs, and we have to take apart inflation and ask how much is tariffs. He said if we unpack inflation data, we don't see inflation rising in services, housing, or inflation expectations. He said we are looking to see if productivity gains continue. He said GDP is rising as labor market is slowing. Policy is in a good place. Can't take eyes off of inflation. And again, if we take a look at yields here, which follow interest rates, yields have actually decreased a little bit since early this morning when I looked at it. They were at like 1.413. Look at yields dump. The yield's coming down a little bit here. Have we seen odds change in the rates? Rate odds on the watch tool. It's gone up a little bit. It says 65% right now. It's basically where it was this morning, though. Again, so NVIDIA's Jensen Huang wants more. Oh my gosh, what is he saying? Sorry, I got all this old saved music. Let me put it up. Hey, what's up? What's up, Tiny? Yeah, take a second, hit the like and subscribe button. We appreciate it. All right, guys. Again, so Fed's Daily still speaking right now. He says financial conditions are one of many inputs to Fed decisions. Flowing wage growth shows it's a negative demand shock in labor market. If firms are scrambling to find workers, wages would rise. We're definitely in a low hiring period. I don't want to make the mistake of holding on to rates too long, he says. Hey, bud. How you doing, dude? Bro, have a good day, buddy. All right, so Daly's still saying, he said asset valuations reflect higher productivity expectations, whether AI ends up to be transformative or not. He's speaking about AI. Again, he said asset valuations reflect higher productivity expectations from AI, essentially, is what he's saying. Yeah, so it should fund the government until January 30th. What it will do, though, is during this period, they'll work out another deal to extend, figure out, like, full year stuff is what it is. Whirlpool? I don't like this company. Downtrending all year. Really, Whirlpool's been downtrending since 2021. Y'all can call out some stocks, I'll look at them, but I might buy this dip right here, though. We're gonna buy this dip. Take a couple more here, take a larger risk now. Yeah, Whirlpool has just been downtrending, unfortunately. All right, we already got a big move up. I think I'm just gonna hold this one flat instead of cutting it early. We bounce up some more. There we go. But yeah, Whirlpool downtrending for too long for me. So yeah, I mean, Intel's doing much better than it was earlier this year, that's for sure. Had a big run up, though. It's up where it was in August and July. That's just a big move. Shutdown's not officially over yet, but it's basically over. I mean, it's not 100% certainty, but it's highly probable. Again, they're going to do their simple majority vote sometime today for the Senate, and then it goes to the House, and the House is probably going to, you know, pass it. Got a really nice gain here. Go ahead and take it out up here at 25 or 26 ticks in profit, I guess. I'll switch to a different account. Built up some. We got a combine account that we're basically there in. Get another dip, we'll add to it. You mean the Red Hat Summit? Advancing AI? Fed's Daily still speaking. He says historically the FOMC has been more divided than it is now. I don't see evidence that monetary policy doesn't transmit to economy. Again, he said asset valuations reflect higher productivity expectations. Looks like I got out right at the top here. You know what? I'll buy the dip on the combine account here. Like 10 maybe here. Maybe add some more if we get green. There we go. There we go. Take a third off right there. We bounced right there at the 200 exponential like I wanted to. Novo was associated with I'm looking at Novo Nordisk news. What is it? NVO. Let's move it up a little bit today. Oh, I did see that. It was Class A. Right, get indicted for rigging pitches. Right? It was Class A. He throws heat too, man. I don't know why he would do that. He's a relief pitcher. He could throw like 102. I don't know what he's doing. Like it's got to be peanuts for them doing it, right? Like you got to be getting paid pretty small amounts, all things considered, if you're Emmanuel Class A. I don't know why he would do that. Crazy. Unnecessary. How much? What does Class A's contract look like? People are Googling this too. Class A has a 5-year, $20 million contract with Cleveland Guardians. So that means he's making about $4 million a year. It's not the biggest, I mean, you know, contract for a, you know, but he's a relief pitcher. And I'm just gonna add to this, see if we bounce. But still, I mean, look, if you're making $4 million a year, what's 100K? You know, he's gotta make better decisions. Nvidia at 194s, almost backed up to 195. So when Nvidia break 200 today, I think if we get a bull run, Nvidia might. All right, I think I just gotta add to this. I'm not gonna add more than like. Again, it's a challenge account. Bear with me. And we got like a $1,500 cushion. Add. Yeah. Yeah, I liked Class A as a pitcher too. He throws heat, man. That dude throws like 103. You know. Hey, what's up, Nick? Yeah. All right, guys, we're in this position on a combine account. We're gonna sit here. We're kind of consolidating around the 200 expedition. Bitcoin right back up there to the top range as well. I'll give it time, but if we fail it, it's not the end of the world. Again, the government shutdown is effectively over. It's not technically over yet, but it's effectively over, meaning within the next 3 days it will be. And then we're going to start to see some of this economic data. Again, so the U.S. is removing Aero China Electronics Trading from the entity list. Again, we had Daily speaking a little bit this morning. So now we're up a decent amount on this. I'll just scale out. There we go. About half of it off right there. I need to get a little bit better fills, though. I'll probably try to limit out of the rest of this if I can. What I see sometimes here is like a big dump right underneath it. I hope that doesn't happen, but. I love it. Good day. All right. All right, there we go. All right, we're going to start covering some of this. We got about a tiny little piece left of this. What's the first data out? I don't know. We're supposed to have CPI and PPI inflation data at the end of this week. So depending on how long it takes them to resume the government, we're going to take another half off there. Depending on how long it takes for them to resume the government is what's going to dictate when we get that data. I hope we still get CPI and PPI. I think we probably should still get CPI and PPI inflation data coming out today. I think we'll still get it. Or not today, I'm sorry. Late this week. It's supposed to come out Thursday and Friday. I think we'll probably still get it. Just depends on... All right, I'm going to cut this here. Top. So, there we go. So we're up about 400. 200 exponential, still a really nice bounce level here. Sports gambling, look, I'm not against it. And I've done it with like MMA. Like the only thing I'll do it is if I know the sport like in and out, which is MMA. I know MMA well. And I know baseball okay. You know, I still don't bet on baseball because there's too much variance in baseball. But the problem is that you got all these people that are selling picks and they're just taking advantage of not the gullible, maybe the naive, you know? And like people get stuck on that path. Like I've never been a hardcore gambler. I just haven't. I've never been that way. I don't like it that much. If I feel like I have a good edge, I might try it. And if I don't do well, I never do it again, you know? But again, you got people that are not like me and you got people that just get really stuck on it. They just get really stuck on it. And they're addicted to the rush of losing, which, you know, I don't understand it, but you got people that are like that and they just kind of fall off the rails with it. And it's unfortunate. And then they got other people selling picks and all this different stuff. I don't know. I'm okay with like fantasy sports. But yeah, I guess in life, it's in like most industries. I'm sure the trading industry isn't that much different. Am I streaming BYND? Of course not. I'm not going to say I told you so, but I definitely told you, all of you guys. I would never laugh at your pain if you lost money, but haha. All right, NASDAQ at 550s. Real moves tomorrow? Is it tomorrow? I don't know. Might be Wednesday. You think they'll do the House vote tomorrow? I hope it's tomorrow. Right. The problem with a lot of these sports betting sites is if you do too well, they ban you for life. You know? And so, like, why? Like, if you're too good at it, they ban you for life. Why even do it then? It's like, hey, let me do this while I suck. And then when I get good enough and I'm like, okay, I'm doing things. Like, it's looking up. Banned for life. You know? I never understood. At 550 level, still rejecting here. I play poker. Poker's different. You're playing against different players in poker. Again, in sports gambling, you're playing against mathematicians. I mean, in poker, I guess you're playing against mathematicians as well. But like these sports betting companies, they hire mathematicians to calculate those odds. And they're freaking good at it. And so if you're going to beat them, you got to be better than them. And most people are not better than them. And that's the root of the problem. Everybody thinks they can do it. Most people are not going to. Bank holiday tomorrow? Yeah, maybe. I mean, not maybe it's a bank holiday, but maybe the market goes up on that. I don't know. It depends on when they call the House in session. Again, Wednesday, I guess. Hey, what's up, Relentless? They banned you last week, brother? How? Why? Yeah, I was talking to Carol about this actually yesterday. Carol calls Harris Harras, like hip hip, you know. It's Harris. But the last time I was in New Orleans, I went to Harris, and I sat down at the poker table, and I think it was like pot limit poker too, and I had the best run of cards you could ever have. I sat down, bro. I had like quad aces. I had a full house. Everybody thought I was full of it, and I don't play much live poker. And so I was kind of naive when I was at the table. Like I didn't know how to do certain things at the table. And so I'm sure everybody looked at me like this dude is a huge fish in poker. I might have looked at me the same way, you know, but granted, I've played thousands and thousands and thousands of hands online. And so I know how to play poker. And I sat down, I just had the greatest run of cards. NASDAQ just broke highs of the day. No, not quite highs. NASDAQ's getting close to highs. United Health CFO says they see tariff impact on medical costs persisting. And I'm not even bragging about this crazy run of hands because I just got lucky. But anyways, I like tripled my stack in like 20 minutes. And so again, I don't really like gambling. And I know it's kind of an unspoken rule, you shouldn't do what I did. But as soon as I did that, I'm like, okay, let's cash out. I'm done. Let me get out of here, you know? And I did that, and I got some bad looks at the poker table. Like, it was a full poker table in New Orleans. People started looking at me funny. The next thing I know, we got this other guy, this old man, walking around. He comes up to me, and he's like, hey, bro, I got some stuff I want to sell you, if you know what I'm talking about. He's like, just come meet me in the bathroom. And I'm sitting there like, dude, you could not force me to go meet you in the bathroom, dude. I just looked at him, I said, no. And I walked away. My guess is he was mad about the poker incident. And he, either way, I'm not visiting him in that bathroom, that's for sure. Who knows what would have happened if I did. All right, guys. Let's see if 550 holds support here. Bitcoin back over 106.5s. Gold pulling back a little bit at 4100s. Still looking at it. Super shady. My wife was with me. She was like, nah. I don't think I had jujitsu skills at the time. This was a few years ago. All right, guys, we're at 550s. See if we bounce right here. I think it makes sense that if we're going to test these highs, we bounce maybe around where we're at now, but I'm not 100% sure. Markets are still kind of waiting for the government to resume effect, like actually resume. Yeah, it definitely didn't hold 550. Glad I didn't take that trade. Again, market's pretty flat right now, though. We're uptrending slightly, but it's not much. So we gotta just wait, I think. Again, we're going to be live day trading the market open here, though, guys. So stick around, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll see what happens. Tomorrow we got ADP data coming out, too, so at least we got something here. Who said roll tide? How dare you? That's an LSU fan. It hurts right here, you know. Old Nussmeier. Insurance stocks. I don't know, man. I think they're down. United Health's down. Others are down too. So Are you guys bull or bear right here? I'm gonna do another poll here. We did a poll. We asked people, does the market hold gains today? 71% say yes, it does. What's a good poll for today? Give me some ideas, chat. Flat. What's a good poll? Give me some poll options here, chat. Gonna pump? Maybe. I mean, it looks like we're getting bought back up here. 550 maybe? But... okay, look at Bitcoin here on the right. Still down. At 106s though, it's back up from under 100 where it was on Friday. At least it's something. MOVE penny stock is moving here. Bitcoin's still falling. Yeah, it's got to be a tiny float here for MOVE. You like Novo as a long-term pickup at current levels? I'll do a different question. I'll say, will we get CPI inflation data this week? Will we get CPI inflation data this week? I think that's a good question. I talked about it earlier. I'm not really interested in him paying everybody $2,000 tariff dividend. I think we just got out the woods from the 2020 inflationary stuff. Let's not start giving people $2,000. Like it's a slippery slope, but I think it can cause inflation. Again, if you're mad about things being unaffordable now, you should not want that. Because there's a cost to it. I'm not really interested. I don't really want that to happen, personally. All right, Bitcoin down to 106.2s. NASDAQ still dipping here. Nvidia still at 194s, 195s. He promised? Was it a pinky promise though? What happened to the trade deal between US and China? I'm pretty sure it's done. What do you think of Novo? I think Novo is volatile. And I usually stay away from medical companies like this just based off of the volatility of them. And if you look at Novo's long-term trend, it's down majorly on the years, down from like 100 down to 45. So maybe it's cheap. And if you put a weekly chart up, I don't know. Here's Novo right here, NVO. Look at this trend. Is this not a sketchy trend right here? It doesn't look the worst, I guess, in terms of cheap. But it's probably kind of cheap to buy here. But it's obviously risky as well, though. It'll probably work, though, really. Like, it doesn't look like the dip's terrible. But again, it's risky. I'm not doing it. I don't know. I bought Meta. I'm green on my Meta positions too, man. I'm actually green on a Meta position. So I'm in Meta right now. I bought the dip. I'm green. QuantumScape? I know what's QS. Okay, yeah, it is QuantumScape. Quantum stock. Big moves up. It just depends on what the sector of quantum does. NASDAQ's starting to head back down here a little bit, though. My target for Meta is like 7. You know, 650s to 7s, probably. probably start scaling out at 650s realistically. But again, I'm not an investment professional. Don't copy me. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't. Anything. Don't do it. But yeah, 650, 700 is what I'd like. Any update on the government shutdown? Yeah, government shutdown. The filibuster is over. We got 60 votes we needed yesterday to end the filibuster. Now it goes to a simple majority. They should vote on that today, probably. And then it gets passed on to the House. The House should be back by tomorrow or Wednesday, and the government should be effectively resumed by then. So that's essentially where the government shutdown is. The question is, do we get CPI and inflation data this week? We did a poll. 65% says yes, we will get CPI inflation this week. I think it'll be Friday. I think it was supposed to be Friday anyway, right? But I think it's going to be Friday now. I think Friday is when we'll get CPI inflation. Actually, it's supposed to be Thursday and Thursday. Where's PPI? Friday? Alright. Okay. At the very least, tomorrow we're gonna get the ADP employment report. Weekly employment. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes until the market opens. I don't know what IREN is. You tell me on IREN. I don't know what it is. Educate me, sir. I don't know what this is. Yeah, all good, G. Gab, I'm not confident in anyone. Also, can't be bear since it's a strong day. Yeah, I mean, government shutdown's effectively over. But I think that's optimism. But I think markets have already reacted to it here. Like, if you look at this big move up here overnight, markets have already kind of reacted to government shutdown news. At least a little bit already. Maybe we'll get another bull reaction once it's actually resumed. But by all intents and purposes, it's basically back. I mean, again, we would, in order for it not to be, there'd have to be some wild turn of event house vote. I think he barnyard. I think it was a crypto miner. What, IREN? Again, I don't know what this is. Let me. Y'all piqued my curiosity. Let me Google IREN stock. South Wales, Australia company. Tech company of some sort. Vertically integrated data center business in Australia and Canada. Okay, so it's data centers. It also mines Bitcoin. Not a bad business to be in right now. I don't know if it's worth this type of gain that it's seeing here, but data center outlook has grown substantially. It's just up so much from $5 to 60, 80. A lot. And I think if we see the bubble bursting, and here's the thing, right? If a lot of people are speculating whether we're in a bubble right now. If we do see this bubble bursting, it's going to be the smaller companies first. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's up a lot though. Apple at 270s, Google at 280s, AMD at 240s. Amazon at 240s. Netflix at 1107. What is the split on Netflix? Was it the 20 something? What's the Netflix split? Looks like the split is helping it a little bit at least. The news of the split at least came out right here? 5th? 17th? Okay. Next Monday. If the Fed cuts rates, does gold and bull or bear immediately after? Or does gold go bull or bear? It depends on why they're cutting. Yeah, remember though, tomorrow 8:15 market time. ADP employment report. I fear the reports. "65% of people think we are going to get CPI inflation this week." We'll see. That's a good question. Are you optimistic or pessimistic regarding the data dump that we're about to get once the government resumes? You know, good or bad? See. Optimistic, good poll question. Slightly optimistic for the market's bad, but I know nothing, so I'm guessing. Remember before NVIDIA and AMD became what it became a few years ago, there was CAN trying to also develop top-line AI chips. Yeah, but there's always winners and losers in technology. And CAN had a terrible long-term trend. Look how choppy the market is, man. Will we get a delayed response at the opening bell in 14 minutes? I don't know. Bad, I know nothing, so I'm guessing. We're all guessing here. That's the markets. We're all... I like to use the more sophisticated word, speculating. But we're all guessing. I don't know. I just did a poll on CPI inflation data. So y'all vote on whether you think we'll get CPI inflation data this week. I don't know. Bitcoin elevated today after the government shutdown, but still pulling back a little bit here. We'll see. I don't know if there's much to do. Again, gold back under 4100s though, so gold's dipping down. I'm still watching Nvidia here. Nvidia all the way back up to almost $200 a share. And so again, $200 is not that far away, so it's kind of a level I'm watching for Nvidia today. If we get a lot of strength show up, maybe Nvidia tries to make it back over 200 today. I'm not sure. The markets are starting to trend a little bit more downward here. You can see the NASDAQ under the 200 exponential at 530s. CPI will happen in PPI. I don't know though. Like, so again, I think the government will resume Wednesday. Right? If we resume Wednesday, PPI, it's supposed to come out. If we look at like Market Watch here, we're supposed to get CPI Thursday, Friday PPI. What I think is that they're going to move it all to Friday, personally. I think they're going to move it all to Friday. Maybe give us some of these old reports that we haven't seen, but we did get the last CPI report. I guess it's Friday is when we're going to see these reports. I don't think we're going to get jobless claims. You know, I think it's going to take too long to get everybody back. Maybe we do. I don't know. But there's Friday. There's Wednesday. Government should resume Wednesday is my guess. Maybe tomorrow if they rush things, but I don't know. That's giving them a little bit too much credit. They're all politicians on both sides, so. You ever get involved in that Alaskan oil penny stock that went trending for a couple weeks before collapsing? No. I don't really buy penny stocks. As I said earlier, it's just not really my style of trading. I don't know. We see a lot of health stocks trending down this morning. I'm not sure what we're going to get from it. I do see a little trend here in the NASDAQ, but it's a slight trend up. That's the trend right now. We are trending higher here. That's why I've been mostly long. I haven't shorted today. Too much good potential stuff coming out this week. No, I'm out of Disney. I'm holding Disney. But Disney's on a dip. So Chef, you were the guy that made the bet that the shutdown would last until December, right? At 1,000 to 1 odds. Sorry to hear. Actually, I'm not sorry to hear. I'm glad you're wrong. But, you know, I don't know what to say. I'm glad you're wrong. But I'm sorry you didn't make money. Well, they need some more time to go through the data. That's what I'm thinking as well, Stoic. I think it's going to take a little while. Maybe Friday we'll get some reports. All right, NASDAQ popping right back up here at the bottom of this trend line. Gold has been correcting some today, though. Long gold from 4,000 last night up to 40.80. Wish I had the 41. Hindsight's 2020, bro. Most people are not going to hold through the full meat move. Like, if you can catch 2/3 of it, you're doing good. Remember, I bought United Health at like 240s. I bought United Health at like 240s. Sold it at like 3 something. Even though I sold it at 3 something, people still tried to make me feel bad for selling it at 3 something. But you know, you're very rarely gonna get the full move and stuff like that. So a win's a win. Good job. Thank you, John, for streaming every day and spreading positivity and rationale. Yeah, sorry to hear. I'm not trying to rub it in, Chef. But I am glad you were wrong. All right, NASDAQ getting back up there. I'm sure a lot of people are glad you're wrong. Those prediction markets are just wild, though. You know? can't put too much weight on what those prediction markets say. It's a new emerging market, but yeah, there's not right most of the time. All right, guys, we got 8 minutes here. 8 minutes. All right, guys. Again, are you green or red today? I'm slightly green in two different accounts. One's a challenge account, one's an actual funded account. I'm slightly green. We got a little cushion heading into the opening bell. Kind of a boring day, though. The markets are not really moving at all here. 7 minutes left until the opening bell. Green? I was wrong. I didn't think we'd get rate cuts until spring. Yeah. I think it's probably time to. I think the data, like leading into September when we got the rate cut, the data was so bad for the labor market. It was scary. It's still scary. The ADP data hasn't been as bad, but the data did not look good. Did not look good heading into September. Big revisions in the labor market, big contractions there. I mean, you know, at that point, I think, you know, again, if the risk labor versus inflation and labor gets too weak, they're going to start making that the priority versus inflation. So once the labor data showed almost 1 million revisions in the benchmark revision, you know, almost 300,000 in 2-month revisions on the downside for labor and weak labor reports consecutively after that, I think it was probably time to start cutting. The Fed understood this, you know. New bet was inflation of 4.9% by April, 1001. That's your new bet. Again, I'm going to say this again, Chef. I genuinely and truthfully hope you're wrong. I don't want 5% inflation by April. I guess it depends on how much the Fed cuts, and, you know, depends on if we restart quantitative easing. I think if we restart quantitative easing, like a lot of people think we will, you know, I don't know if we're gonna get to 5%, but we might have some. 1001 odds. I don't know if that's good or not. I'm not sure. Again, my family likes the show The Office. I think Kevin had a quote. Anytime anybody gives you 1001 odds, and this is just joking, quoting The Office, you always take it. He says. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Again, NASDAQ up to 25.5 again. Look at Nvidia pop at 195. Let me see if there's any news. AI server startup Majestic Labs raised a total of $100 million according to CNBC. Get Nvidia popping up maybe on that news. Borrowing to fund AI data centers is also going up substantially for 2025. Maybe that news is dragging Nvidia up. Get Nvidia 195's here. Dragging the NASDAQ up with it. Gold rebounding some, but still under 4,100s here. We got 4 minutes. Was it 10,000 to 1 on The Office? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen that episode. All right, guys. Go pop it up. Opening bell's almost here. We got 3 minutes here. Yeah, I don't know. I got Carol this for her birthday. See this, Kevin.
Hello, Carol. Carol. Hi, Carol. It's me. No, not Ashton Kutcher.
Hey, I'll let you guys see it later. The opening bell's almost here. We gotta be serious. But all right, guys. The rest of it's actually pretty funny, but Nvidia's still pushing up. We're at 195s. Look at the NASDAQ turn down here. What's dropping right now to drag the NASDAQ down? AMD, no. Apple. 269s. Yeah, so it says, once the government reopens, federal agencies will rush to release 6 weeks of delayed reports. The September jobs report, originally due October 3rd, should come out within days. Late summer labor market, other data will take longer. Labor Department is weeks behind on October employment and inflation. Analysts expecting payrolls data at least 2 weeks after reopening. Unemployment and consumer prices may face further delays. So, yeah, I mean, again, CPI and PPI inflation scheduled for Thursday and Friday. I don't know if we're going to get that. Maybe we'll get some of the delayed data. Maybe we'll get the labor report too. That'll be interesting. All right, NASDAQ popping up here. All right, guys, 45 seconds. All right, here we go. All right, here's the opening bell, guys. Hit the live button, put it in 2x speed, catch up. We appreciate it. Government not opening this year. The Senate ended the filibuster last night. Keith, I'm not sure if you realized, but they got their 60 votes. It's now a simple majority, which is going to happen, and then the House will probably approve it. So, government will be back open by Wednesday, probably. All right, here's the bell. Good luck. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. There's the opening bell. Apple back up here. Good Apple. Get Bitcoin coming down some. If 106 holds support. Apple shooting back up here. Here's highs of the day for the NASDAQ here. We're getting close to highs of the day. Apple's helping it. Nvidia down a little bit since the opening bell, actually. NASDAQ still moving up with mostly Apple, though. NASDAQ's very close to highs. I gotta wait at least 4 minutes, 5 minutes to trade, though. Right at highs of the day. It looks like we're gonna break it at the very least. We tapped it. I wouldn't buy this. There's highs of the day break. We just broke highs of the day. And the NASDAQ here. Look at this run. Look at this candle at the opening bell, guys. So we are getting some strength at the open now. Retracing a little bit back to the previous high of the day. I would buy this again. We're only a minute and a half into the day. I would buy it, but I should have bought it maybe. But Bitcoin falling down a little bit at the opening bell here, guys. Look at Bitcoin. 106. Bitcoin testing 106,000 right now. Apple back up to 270, almost 271s. Look at Bitcoin right here, guys. Look at Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin right here. All right, guys, we are now effectively 2 minutes into the day here. Again, Apple has helped drive the market up a little bit at the open. Nvidia is finding some support around the 200 exponential at 194s. Bitcoin is falling down. AMD starting to push up as well. Microsoft and Meta both red at the open. Got a little dip though. I kind of want to buy it. We're only 2 minutes and 3 minutes into the day. Bought it. I gotta stick with my rules though here, chat. I'm sorry. There goes Nvidia starting to rip back higher. Again, does Nvidia want 200s? All right, there's another retest. 585s. NASDAQ just broke highs again. That's 25,600. I'm looking at 25,600 up here. Look at Apple right here. Nvidia back up close to the highs of the day at 195.40s. Bitcoin back up a little bit. It's at 106.120s. AMD breaking highs of the day again at 243.28, 243.50s, 243.60 for AMD. Definitely seeing some strength here. Again, I can trade now, but I need a pullback here. I don't want to buy all-time high or buy high of the day. We get a pullback to maybe 575 or maybe 550s. I'll buy it. But get a pullback first. Robinhood. Yeah, Robinhood's ripping up. It's at 138s right now as we speak. 138s. We got a little micro pullback here. It's not really big enough to buy into. All right, we'll buy into this. We'll take a couple. To add a little bit more here, to be honest. Add some here. Pick up to like maybe. No. Scaling out. Yep. Go. Out. Love to see it. I'll switch to it. Got the bounce right there at 570. Robinhood's still pushing up. Meta's still giving back some of these gains though. Apple and Nvidia. Nvidia's kind of flat since the opening bell though here. Still ripping over highs of the day here. Again, I'm looking at 600s. Depends on how well it reacts to 600 though. All right, there's 600. We just ripped over it. Did tap it, but now we're back below. Tesla shares are up 2.6%. All right, so now it depends on what Nvidia does here. If Nvidia rips up breaking highs, we might see some more strength. Got a little dip here, not big enough for me to want to buy back yet. Nvidia starts dipping. Bitcoin's still down. It's testing 105s now. It's under 106,000 for Bitcoin. Still fading. Healthcare stocks running up. We get Bitcoin back down to 105s. I wonder why healthcare stocks are running up right now. We're at highs consolidating here. Nvidia's mostly flat, but Bitcoin, guys, is breaking down here. It's at 105.7s, under 106,000. Yeah, I'll just be careful in this here, to be honest, chat. I've gotten into some green trades, but I'm waiting now. Over highs of the day again. Those sevens. Meta's bouncing back some. I think this is helping it. Google up huge on the day. Look at Google run. So Google's helping drag the market back too. Look. Almost 290s for Google. Still pushing here. Big swings on the upside. Big drop showing up in markets here. See if it gets balled up. Or a big retracement, I mean. Breaking highs again here. If we hold now. Back up to highs. This is the 007 loading screen music. Honestly, that was my song back in the day. I think that 007 loading screen really was ahead of its time. Lockheed Martin is going to support the AVO solid rocket motor factory in the US. I don't really see any other news. I think we're just seeing a delayed response to maybe the government shutdown probably ending. Google's still ripping up here. So is Apple. All right, NASDAQ still creeping higher here. Bitcoin still under 106. United Health up to almost 324s. Almost green on the day. Still broke highs again, almost at 630s. Look at Nvidia though, so we might see another jump here. Nvidia's starting to rise. Look at Nvidia, back up to almost 195.30s here, creeping up there. Yeah, I'll play some Halo with you. I would love to play 007 online, although I'm sure I'd get destroyed now. It's been years. NASDAQ, again, a lot of people expected this today, which is crazy runs. A lot of people expected this. Again, we got the ADP non-farm employment change data tomorrow. The employment report for ADP tomorrow, 8:15. We're going to cover that live as we always do. Yeah, yields dumping down this morning. If you look at 10-year, they started out at like 4.1%, well, 4.13%. Just today alone, they have fallen all the way down to under 4.1. So yields are falling down. It shows a weaker or a lower interest rate sentiment is what this means. The yields fall down this morning. Nvidia's right here at the top of this range though at 195. Bitcoin's still falling. I have a gut feeling the government will be open before the end of this week. Market will pump, but data will come out. I mean, the government's going to open this week, almost certainly. House would really have to drag their feet for it not to, you know. NASDAQ still breaking highs at 635s. Now, will the data come out? Maybe. At the very least, tomorrow we get the labor report for ADP. And then maybe we'll get the actual delayed labor report later this week, too. I'm not sure. Look at the NASDAQ still rip up. Nvidia's starting to dip down a little here now. We are seeing strength in everything. Back at the highs again, chat. Again, it depends on if Nvidia bounces here. A lot of stuff's green. Market's back at highs. See some other stocks starting to dip here though. Back up to the top. Bitcoin just broke the low of the day. Yeah, Bitcoin just cracked lows again today, down to 105.40s. Could be buy the rumor, sell the news dynamic, maybe. But I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm kind of shorting the top here, but again, I'm in a challenge account, so I'll show you guys it. We're already up over 1,000 and then we reject here. Depends on what Nvidia does. If Nvidia starts to move back up to test this, maybe we see some strength. But we'll cut this if we. I cut this now. Actually, we're right around 50 here, maybe. I shorten again, small, and then add to it if we're right. There we go. Oh. There we go. Cutting. Again, I'm trading on Topstep's funded account program. No PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ down. Very similar to day trading stock. There's no PDT rule in futures. Get you around the PDT rule. Allows you to day trade. Great way to learn when most day traders lose. Besides the data, I mean, without being too specific, I have family members that use Snap, and so I've given them money because their fear that they weren't going to get their payments. You know, so kind of, a little bit. And if you want to check out Topstep, here's the link. Great way to learn. Most day traders lose. They have their back to funding option. Again, they're a sponsor. I'm not unbiased, of course. I get paid by them, so there's the link if you want to check it out. Again, genuinely useful. Get you around the PDT. The perfect way to learn. You learn with $50 risk, some risk, but not 10,000, 15,000 like a lot of day traders end up doing. All right, so here's a dip here. I should have held that short. Top 3 worst exits ever. Look at this pullback here, guys. Reeves says haven't made final decision yet on budget measures. Maybe that's dragging the market down. Probably somebody in the UK. Yeah. They ever gonna give you a discount code? I'm not an affiliate with them. I mean, I'm affiliated with them, but I'm not an affiliate, if that makes sense. Alright, we're dropping down. Watch 600 here, 25.6 maybe. Nvidia's starting to pull back. Big drops coming in markets. NASDAQ, Nvidia, AMD, Apple. Dragging the market down. Ever give money away? I mean, I don't know, brother. I genuinely believe you get what you put out there. If you're greedy and mean and selfish, you know, that's what you're gonna get back. So. Alright, look at this red candle here. Under 25.6. Can I barrow 1,000? What, a wheelbarrow? Probably. Alright, so Fed's Musalam says we have adequate information to make policy decisions. He said took notice of layoff announcements, but at the same time unemployment insurance claims stable. Companies selling to consumers having more difficulty passing on higher prices. Labor market has cooled in an orderly way. Says uncertainty has plateaued. I should have bought 600 here, guys. Look at Bitcoin down to 105. I bought 600. Had your line ready. Yeah, I mean, here's a retest of it. I don't target retests. Apple up, though. Apple's dragging the market up a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I think capitalism has its flaws, certainly. But, like, what's the better option? You could say socialism, but that's never been successfully done in history ever. And you could say, oh, well, we're going to get it right this time. But I think things generally, when you look at history, end up worse. Somebody swoops in, takes power, and then it turns into worse things. You know, and this is objectively true, you know. And so while capitalism certainly has its flaws, I don't think there's much better options out there. At least with capitalism, most people have a very high standard of living. Even like people that would be on the lower income spectrum, they're going to have a higher standard of living than a lot of other places, right? And so, but and again, maybe I'm wrong. You can argue with me if you want. All right, guys, we're under 25.6. All right, we're at Google's still pushing really nicely up to 280s. People by nature are bad and not good. Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, I don't know. But I think you have to look at it with the same lens for other forms of government, you know, and think like, hey, are they going to be good under these other forms? And the answer is probably no, you know, and that's what history has shown as well, you know. And so let them compete. Raises the standard of living for everybody. At least the rich have to work for it versus just getting blindly given it, which makes them respect it less, you know. Yeah, Bitcoin, I don't know why Bitcoin's dropping like it is. It's under 105s now. It's at 104.7s. I don't know. I think communes work if they're small. I think once they grow to large groups of people, people care less about it. And so you get corruption and drama and nonsense, right? But if they're small, they work. But the US, that ain't small, you know? In fact, it's very large. And because of that, it's just not going to work. AMD breaking highs of the day again here, guys. Look at AMD. Should have bought 25.6s. All right, AMD almost at 246s here, 246s. So AMD is one of the stronger microchip stocks. Nvidia's starting to fight its way back up. It's almost to 195s. NASDAQ ripping back up to highs here. Bitcoin still flushing down. Yeah, I don't know what we're going to get. I'm going to get out of here, guys. Hey, tomorrow we got the ADP employment report, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. Be ready. Again, check out Topstep. You want to help support the channel. No PDT rule in futures. Beautiful way to learn when most day traders lose money. Here's the link. Check it out. No PDT rule. Beautiful way to learn. Almost all day traders lose money, so why fund thousands of dollars into your own account? It just genuinely makes no sense to do so. Limit your risk. You'll still probably lose regardless of where you go. Here, very reliable. Great way to learn, in my opinion. Check it out. There's a link. They're a sponsor of mine. I'm biased. I get paid by them. I don't even claim to be a good trader. Come watch me tomorrow, 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. And in fact, as soon as we close this stream, it's going to bring you to tomorrow's stream. 8:15, we have an employment report. Government should be resumed by Wednesday, and then we might start getting more reports later this week. So tune in, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. And y'all have a great day. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Again, as soon as I close this stream, it's going to bring you to tomorrow's stream. I'll see you guys over there. Yeah, y'all be safe.